There comes a moment in every life when a person must choose what sort of power they will allow to rule their destiny. Some allow fear to take the throne, others surrender to doubt, letting it whisper limitations into their ears. But there is a rare kind of individual, the kind who steps into each day with the calm assurance that success is not merely possible, but inevitable. And when a person carries that belief, something extraordinary happens. Doors open where there were no doors. Opportunities appear where once there were only obstacles. The world bends ever so slightly in their favor. To act as if you cannot fail is not pretending. It is planting a seed in the fertile soil of your own mind. It is instructing every thought, every emotion, every choice to align with victory long before victory has shown itself. It is the discipline of refusing to negotiate with fear, the refusal to bow to circumstances, the refusal to doubt the power that lives within you. When you hold this attitude long enough, your mind begins to reveal paths that others cannot see. Your spirit grows stronger, your purpose becomes sharper, and the invisible forces of life begin to move with you instead of against you. Acting as if you cannot fail is not arrogance, it is responsibility. The responsibility to use the extraordinary imagination you carry within you. The responsibility to reject any belief that diminishes your potential. The responsibility to rise again and again with the certainty that the outcome you desire is already forming, already unfolding, already reaching for you with equal intensity. When you walk with this conviction, life responds, not immediately, not magically, but inevitably, because success belongs not to the lucky, but to the unwavering. The mind becomes powerful the moment it refuses to accept the possibility of failure. This single decision, made in the quiet space between your thoughts, can alter the entire course of your life. Most people go through their days carrying doubts like heavy stones in their pockets. They question their abilities, they question their worth, and they question whether the life they dream of is even meant for them. But the person who consciously decides, I will no longer entertain failure as an option, steps into a different category entirely. They awaken a force within themselves that has been waiting patiently for the command to rise. You see, the mind is always listening. It listens to your fears, your words, your private inner conversations. If you whisper uncertainty, it shrinks. If you speak hesitation, it trembles. But if you speak with the firmness of someone who expects to win, the mind straightens, strengthens, and begins to operate on a higher level. The moment you discard the idea of failure, you stop feeding the doubts that drain your willpower. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop giving your energy to the very things that sabotage your progress. A mind that refuses failure becomes a mind that seeks solutions unconsciously, relentlessly, even while you sleep. This refusal isn't blind optimism. It isn't stubborn pride. It is the disciplined decision to shape your internal world so that the external world begins to bend in its direction. When you no longer allow failure to exist in your mental vocabulary, your thoughts begin to arrange themselves with striking clarity. You notice opportunities that others overlook. You see potential in places where others see dead ends. You act with an authority that makes people pay attention. You move with a confidence that makes doors open for you, not because of luck, but because certainty has a persuasive power that doubt can never imitate. Many people believe that confidence comes from winning, but the truth is far more profound. Winning often comes from confidence. When you refuse to consider failure, you no longer drain your energy imagining what might go wrong. Instead, you channel every ounce of your mental and emotional power into what must go right. This is not ignorance of risk, it is mastery over it. It is understanding that the human mind performs at its highest level when it is not divided. A divided mind hesitates. A unified mind strikes forward like a blade. There is a quiet magic in the person who walks through life with the inner conviction that defeat is not their destiny. People sense it. Circumstances respond to it. Life interacts differently with a mind that radiates certainty. It is not the loudness of your voice that changes your reality, but the firmness of your belief. When you refuse failure internally, your outer behavior changes subtly, naturally. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You take actions you once avoided. You persist where you used to quit. And in that persistence, life reveals its secrets. Most individuals never experience the true power of their minds because they allow fear to dictate their direction. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for permission. The person who rejects the possibility of failure, however, acts with a freedom that others envy. They are not reckless, they are liberated. Their decisions come from vision, not fear. Their actions come from purpose, not worry. Their energy flows forward, not backward. And because of that, they tend to accomplish more in months than most do in years. Once you remove failure from the equation, your mind begins to expand. Ideas flow more freely. Creativity awakens. You begin to trust your own intuition because you realize that doubt was never a guardian. It was a barrier. And when that barrier breaks, you experience a level of mental independence that transforms the way you see yourself. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" you begin to ask, "What must I do to succeed?" That single shift from fear to responsibility changes your actions, and your actions change your results. Greatness is never born from the timid mind. It is born from the mind that dares to declare, "I do not accept failure as my fate." And once that declaration is made, everything inside you reorients toward your purpose. Your emotions support you. Your thoughts strengthen you. Your attitude reinforces you. Your determination multiplies. You become a force that is difficult to stop, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become unshakable. Every achievement begins with the inner decision to act as if success is already secured. Not hoped for, not wished for, not vaguely imagined, but secured, claimed in advance long before the evidence appears in the physical world. This decision is not made with loud declarations or dramatic gestures. It happens quietly, deep within a person's consciousness, in that private space no one else can see. And yet this silent decision generates more power than any external action. It becomes the foundation upon which every achievement is built, the spark that sets the entire structure of success into motion. When a person decides they will act as if their success is already certain, they stop waiting for the world to give them permission. They move differently. They think differently. They behave as someone who expects life to cooperate with them. And that expectation, unseen but deeply felt, begins to influence everything around them. People respond to it. Opportunities gravitate toward it. Circumstances arrange themselves around it. Because life has a peculiar way of aligning with the mindset of someone who has already welcomed success into their inner world. To act as if success is secured is to step into the identity of the person you intend to become. Before you have the title, the recognition, the wealth, the achievement, you begin carrying yourself as the individual who already possesses it. This is not pretending, it is preparing. It is allowing your behavior to match your vision rather than your current circumstances. It is giving your future self a voice in the present moment. And the more consistently you embody that identity, the more naturally you begin to make decisions that move you forward rather than hold you back. Every great breakthrough begins with this internal transformation. Before the inventor builds the machine, they see it working in their mind. Before the artist paints the masterpiece, they feel its presence in their imagination. Before the leader inspires the masses, they envision themselves capable of doing so. Achievement is born from a mind that has already accepted the final result long before the world confirms it, and that acceptance creates a strange, unshakable determination that cannot be learned from books or forced through discipline alone. It emerges from belief, firm, settled belief. This inner decision also reshapes the way a person perceives challenges. Someone who merely hopes to succeed falters at the first sign of difficulty. Someone who doubts their abilities interprets obstacles as warnings to turn back. But the person who acts as if success has already been written into their destiny meets each challenge with a different attitude. They see obstacles as steps, not barriers. They view setbacks as temporary, not final. They interpret criticism as noise, not prophecy. This mindset does not eliminate difficulty, it eliminates defeat. Because you cannot be defeated by something you have already decided cannot stop you. When you act as if your success is secured, your subconscious mind begins working with you instead of against you. It opens doors in your thinking that once seemed locked. It finds solutions you overlooked. It strengthens your intuition and sharpens your perception. It guides you toward opportunities that match the belief you hold. The subconscious is always following your dominant thoughts. And when those thoughts are rooted in the certainty of success, it becomes a tireless worker, arranging ideas, attracting resources and pushing you toward the results you envisioned. Most people misunderstand the power of acting as if. They think it means pretending everything is perfect, but real power has nothing to do with pretending. It has everything to do with aligning your behavior with the outcome you desire. If you want to be a leader, you begin carrying yourself like one. If you want to be financially free, you start thinking with the responsibility and discipline of someone who already is. If you want to transform your life, you begin by transforming your attitude and expectations. You become the cause rather than the effect. This decision to act as if success is secured also removes the hesitation that destroys so many dreams. Doubt slows your steps. Fear tightens your actions. But certainty, true inner certainty, unlocks your energy. You begin moving with purpose, speaking with clarity, investing with courage, and showing up with consistency. Your efforts compound. Your progress accelerates. Your life shifts into a different rhythm, one driven not by chance but by intention. When a person finally decides to act as if their success is already secured, they stop living from their limitations and start living from their potential. They begin shaping their environment instead of adapting to it. They stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. They walk into each day not as someone hoping to win, but as someone fulfilling what they have already accepted deep within themselves. Doubt is the only real enemy. Imagination is the key to victory. When you look closely at every dream that has been abandoned, every goal left unfinished, every life that drifts instead of rises, you will find that it wasn't lack of talent that caused the downfall. It wasn't lack of opportunity. It wasn't even lack of resources. It was doubt, quiet, subtle, and persistent. Doubt slips into the mind like a shadow, blending in, whispering its warnings, making even the strongest person question the very ideas that once excited them. It does not shout, it erodes. It wears away confidence one thought at a time. And if left unchecked, it becomes the silent architect of failure. But imagination, on the other hand, is the force that has lifted humanity out of darkness, pushed civilizations forward, and built every invention, every masterpiece, every breakthrough. Imagination is the beginning of all greatness. It is the ability to see beyond what exists and reach toward what could be. It is a mental blueprint of a life not yet lived. When you imagine a better version of yourself, a future that calls you forward, you are tapping into the most powerful tool the human mind possesses. It is not fantasy, it is the seed of destiny. The greatest tragedy is that most people trust their doubts more than their imagination. They give more authority to the voice that tells them what they can't do than the vision that shows them what they could become. But doubt has never built a single dream. Doubt has never opened a door. Doubt has never created a future worth living. Imagination, however, has done all of that and more. Every major achievement in history began in the mind before it existed in the world. Someone had to imagine it, believe it, and act on it long before anyone else could see the possibility. When you allow doubt to lead, your world becomes small. Opportunities seem distant. Risks feel dangerous. Goals appear unrealistic. Your energy diminishes. Your decisions shrink. You settle for less because doubt convinces you that less is safer. But safety is an illusion. There is no safety in living beneath your potential. There is no security in ignoring your purpose. A person who lets doubt govern their choices may avoid failure, but they also avoid growth, expansion, discovery, and the fulfillment their soul was designed for. Imagination does the opposite. It expands you. It pushes you beyond the familiar. It opens paths you didn't even know existed. When you imagine something clearly enough, when you entertain that vision with faith instead of fear, your mind starts to reorganize itself around that image. You begin noticing resources, people, and opportunities that were invisible to you before. Your thoughts shift, your perspective widens, your energy rises. You feel alive because imagination awakens something ancient within you. The desire to create, to express, to rise, to manifest what lives in the depths of your mind. Doubt confines you to what is. Imagination invites you to what could be. Doubt questions your worth. Imagination reveals your potential. Doubt makes you hesitate. Imagination makes you move. And this is why imagination becomes the key to victory. Not because it magically grants you success, but because it aligns your entire being with the direction of your purpose. It gives you a reason to persevere when the current circumstances give you none. It gives you strength when the world gives you obstacles. It gives you direction when the path ahead seems uncertain. When you choose imagination over doubt, you reclaim your power. You stop living as a reaction to the world and start shaping the world through the clarity of your vision. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And begin asking, what if it does? That single shift in thinking can change the entire course of your life, because doubt focuses on danger, but imagination focuses on possibility. And possibility is the birthplace of victory. Many people believe that imagination fades as we grow older, but the truth is that it never disappears. It simply gets buried under layers of doubt, responsibility, fear, and unmet expectations. But it is always there, waiting to be awakened again. Every time you allow yourself to dream, every time you give yourself permission to visualize a better reality, you breathe life back into that inner power. And the more you nurture that power, the stronger it becomes. When you treat imagination as a guiding force instead of a childhood relic, your life begins to shift. You speak with more conviction. You act with more creativity. You persist with more courage. Doubt may still whisper, but its voice grows weaker as your vision grows stronger. And eventually you realize that the enemy was never the challenge in front of you. It was the doubt within you. Once that doubt loses its influence, victory becomes not just a possibility, but an expectation. The world adjusts itself to the person who acts with unwavering certainty. It may not happen instantly, and it may not happen without struggle, but life responds to certainty with a force that surprises even the person who possesses it. There is something magnetic about an individual whose belief in their path is firm, settled, and unshakable. People feel it when they speak. They notice it in their actions. They sense it in their presence. Certainty as a way of radiating outward, creating an atmosphere that influences everything around it. Most people move through life waiting for the world to give them a sign before they commit fully to their goals. They wait for approval, reassurance, or evidence that they will succeed. They hesitate because they think certainty must come from the outside. But the truth is the exact opposite. Certainty begins within, in the quiet conviction you build through intention, belief, and persistent action. When you decide with your whole being that a particular outcome is meant for you, the world gradually rearranges itself to reflect that belief. This inner certainty changes the way you think. It sharpens your attention. It directs your energy. It filters out distractions that once consumed your time. When the mind is certain, it becomes organized. It works with purpose instead of wandering aimlessly through possibilities. You stop questioning whether you can reach your goal and begin asking what steps will take you there faster. Your decisions become cleaner. Your priorities become clearer. The noise that once overwhelmed you fades into the background because certainty silences it. Certainty also changes the way you act. People who believe deeply in their path take different actions than people who are unsure. They move with intention instead of hesitation. They push through resistance instead of retreating from it. They follow through when motivation fades because they understand that their destination is not up for negotiation. This unwavering behavior is what begins to shift the external world. Opportunities tend to appear for those who are prepared to receive them. Connections tend to strengthen for those who move with confidence. Challenges tend to bend for those who refuse to be intimidated by them. There is a reason why individuals with certainty seem to receive more support, more recognition, and more progress than those who doubt themselves. People are naturally drawn to conviction. They trust it, they follow it, they support it. When you speak with certainty, others believe you not because they know your future, but because they feel your belief in it. That belief influences them on a level far deeper than logic. It is the energy of someone who has decided that success is not optional, but inevitable. And that energy has the power to shift outcomes. Life tests everyone. Even the most certain person encounters setbacks, delays, and moments of discouragement. But certainty does not crumble under pressure. It adapts, it pivots, it persists. It is not rigid, it is rooted. A person driven by certainty does not deny difficulty. They simply refuse to interpret difficulty as defeat. This resilience is what causes the world to make room for them. Life respects those who refuse to back down. It eventually yields to those who push forward with discipline and conviction. Certainty is not loud. It does not need to be. Real certainty is quiet, steady, and consistent. It shows itself in daily habits, in small decisions, in the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. When you maintain that inner stability long enough, the world begins to reflect it